So I started my career as a fashion designer and learned about that, but then I became a creative director. So I moved from London to New York, and then later became a creative director for Nike in Asia. So I built this sort of understanding of what's going on around the world. But when I got back from Hong Kong to New York, I wanted to do something more, so I worked at Parsons. I became the dean of the School of Fashion at Parsons. And that's when I really started to understand my philosophy of design, and I really developed the love of sharing that philosophy, sharing design thinking. So I did that for 7 years. At the end of that, I created Fashion Culture Design, 设计文化设计. I did that because I wanted to bring together the brilliant people I've met, all the brilliant people I know, and make sure that we continued those conversations, we continued that exploration of the thinking about design, whether it's architecture or fashion or media or communication or anything. Having created Fashion Culture Design, I then realized I need to share this knowledge. All the knowledge I've been creating, all the work I've done through my career as a designer, a design thinker, I wanted to share that, and so I created We Design. And to me, that's a wonderful way of fulfilling my destiny. The first thing that struck me was the beautiful harmony between traditional buildings like the temple at Taikoo Li and the modern buildings that had been put around it, but very much in the spirit of what was there. And it was this perfect blending of the old and the new, and you don't see that very much. I certainly don't see that around the world. And so that set me thinking that Chengdu was a really interesting place. There was something happening here that I don't see even in other parts of China. So I came back a few weeks after that, and now here I am back the third time. So I'm finally going to get to see the fashion of Chengdu. I mean, I can walk the streets, I can see cool people, I can get a sense of the culture, the flavor of the people. So if I'm honest, I haven't seen the best of Chengdu fashion yet. I'm here to see that. I think Chengdu has the opportunity of asking smart questions because it's new to that world in a way that other cities can't do. Other cities are so set with what they already do that perhaps it's difficult for them to be flexible. Whereas Chengdu, we can do anything here. And when you look at what's going on in the city, I think there's every possibility. Well, we've launched We Design here in Chengdu. The reason I launched my company here in China is because there's such a passion for design education here. So now I'm welcoming students into our programs. We'll be setting up study programs here with our partners, Great China Education. I'll be speaking at universities here, and I'm talking to the government about the possibility of maybe building a school. I think Chengdu is an excellent environment for fashion. I think there's real openness and passion here, and there's a real desire for that here in China, and particularly in Chengdu. And I just want to share that passion and that openness and that success of thinking like a designer with everybody.
So I'm Ralph Wiegmann. I was born in Germany, in the northern part of Germany. I'm 62 years old. Good design means good in many ways, not just shape, not just aesthetics, not just beauty, right? It's function, it's material, it's environmental friendly, and if you invest in good design, it's a support to this world as well, right? To this globe as well. Sustainability is something all of us, every individual, not companies only, not designers only, that every individual has to think about and do something. Right? The situation in this world is very, very critical right now regarding sustainability.
Let's welcome IF CEO, Mr. Ralph Wiegmann.
3 years ago, Chengdu government had already identified design as a future-oriented discipline, and luckily they thought that IF could be a counterpart for them, and they contacted us. And I mean our government partners as well. They were unbelievably friendly. They were very, very much open-minded. When we started with this conference, this is the third year, as I say.
Welcome to a very special evening in the IF Design Center Chengdu.
So we have already a daughter company here in Chengdu. The decision to set up a center in the high-tech zone park is something that was, in our eyes, a very good precondition for success. It's the only city where we will run an IF design center outside Germany. We have lecture rooms, we have conference rooms, we have exhibition islands. I mean, right now we are here in Chengdu, and that means Chengdu is our challenge now.
I would really love to go by bike because it has such a beautiful nature, or even hike. This is one of the big advantages of Chengdu.
So I still hope that one day maybe I have a weekend or so that I can really spend on my own and explore Chengdu a little bit more. That's what I wished.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Yann Debel de Montby. Je suis français et j'ai grandi au Maroc, en Afrique. J'ai travaillé à Paris, avant j'avais ma propre société, et après j'ai travaillé pour Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, qui est le numéro 1 mondial du luxe, pour Berluti. Et puis après j'ai travaillé pour Dunhill, Alfred Dunhill. Pour Berluti, j'étais en charge de toute la communication, l'image et la communication, pour reconstruire une marque ou construire une maison. Et là, je vais raconter cette histoire. Tout ce que je construis aujourd'hui est nourri et se nourrit de mon expérience passée. Je suis arrivé à Shanghai en 2006, donc à la demande du groupe Richemont, pour pouvoir trouver un projet spécial. Ça s'appelait la maison Dunhill, avec vraiment le style de Shanghai, une architecture à la fois 1930 et un peu néoclassique. C'est comme si j'avais donné ma maison à quelqu'un d'autre. C'est une marque construite par des gens qui avaient beaucoup d'imagination, parce que c'était la première fois qu'un projet comme ça se passait en Chine. En fait, je suis aussi un designer d'intérieur, c'est-à-dire que j'aide les gens à construire leur intérieur, leur nid, leurs rêves. Donc nous faisons principalement du design d'intérieur, beaucoup de maisons privées, mais nous faisons aussi des restaurants, un grand bateau. La couleur est différente. La couleur, c'est une palette de joie, c'est une palette complètement différente. En fait, j'aime le mélange de couleurs et de noir et blanc. Et j'aime le contraste beaucoup. Donc en noir et blanc, j'aime beaucoup ces contrastes de noir et de blanc, de l'ombre et de la lumière. Je suis extrêmement heureux de cet événement parce que j'étais juge. Ça va de tout, de bijoux jusqu'à des vêtements, des boîtes pour contenir du vin. Je crois donner de notre groupe le premier prix à une machine destinée, je crois, à humidifier l'air, un humidificateur, mais avec les humidificateurs qui permettent d'avoir un air plus humide, plus agréable. D'abord, c'est très difficile de juger, c'est très difficile d'être objectif. Pour moi, le plus important, comme nous le disions précédemment, c'est que quelque chose, quand on voit un travail, d'abord, la capacité d'une idée, d'une création, d'un objet de vous faire rêver. de vous faire rêver pour une utilisation, de vous faire rêver pour aller vers autre chose, c'est pour moi très très important. C'est la 8e fois. Je crois que quand je suis venu la première fois à Chengdu, j'ai rencontré les gens les plus gentils que j'avais rencontrés en Chine. Tout le monde me souriait dans la rue, donc je pensais peut-être que j'avais quelque chose qui faisait sourire, mais je crois qu'ils me souriaient parce que les gens sont gentils. Ils sont gentils partout en Chine, mais à Chengdu, ils sont peut-être encore plus spontanés. Donc pour moi, de revenir encore à Chengdu, où je viens de temps en temps pour mon travail, j'ai vu, hier nous avons vu qu'il y a beaucoup de petits cafés qui ouvrent, ça c'est très créatif, ça c'est différent, mais j'aime beaucoup. Ces gens qui sont probablement des gens jeunes qui ouvrent des cafés avec des thèmes différents, tout ça, ça m'intéresse beaucoup, beaucoup, beaucoup. Donc j'aime me promener. Une ville, pour moi, c'est un endroit où on devrait circuler à pied, pas en voiture. De découvrir aussi à Chengdu, parce que je sais que je connais autour de Chengdu un petit peu, et à Chengdu, je ne connais pas encore bien Chengdu.
I'd saved up for 4 years to travel around the world, and I did that, and one of the places I ended up in was Chengdu. I had no conception of China. I never studied Chinese. I knew little to nothing about Chinese history or art. So I returned home, and like 2 months went by, and I couldn't stop thinking about Chengdu and how weird it was. So my name is Rory Menson. I'm 28 years old. I am from Ohio in the United States. Currently, I am a curator and part owner of IPF. I came to Chengdu 4 years ago to visit, and I ended up staying and starting a life here and starting a career. And that is the very short version of who I am. One of the first things I was struck by here was there were many talented artists that come out of Chengdu after I looked it up, but I couldn't find their studios. I couldn't find where their work was displayed. None of them I could find information on in English online. So this really got me thinking. IPF stands for Idea Production Factory, and we really live up to that title. First and foremost, it is a bilingual arts and culture media platform in Chengdu that is committed to providing a cultural bridge between locals and foreigners. One of the first things I did was a monthly exhibition guide. This was something that I wish I had known when I first came to Chengdu, but nobody was doing it. A way for people, English and Chinese, to find out what events are going on in Chengdu related to art. Where are the galleries? What are their hours? The second thing we did was we went to an exhibition together, and I wrote a review about it for my own personal opinion. The best date spots in Chengdu, people want to do things different. You can only go for Hotpot so many times, but if you want to go on a date, going to a museum or a gallery is a great idea. Some of our content is very approachable. It really helps people understand the art. It doesn't take you by the hand and lead you through, but it definitely gives you a platform to stand on and look at it through a different perspective. Secondly, we do independent curation. We help you develop your idea and curate it through writing, through media resources, and otherwise. This is everything from personal artists to universities. We did one for the Polish consulate called Love Impossible for a Polish photographer. The role of a curator is not the role of an artist. A curator is more of a facilitator of ideas. Many artists are not very good at expressing themselves through their own writing or maybe public speaking. I really enjoy it because it helps me think about things in a new way. This line of work for me is incredibly rewarding.
We need to step back and look. Okay.
Many people have this conception that an art exhibition is as simple as hanging something on a wall, but a lot goes into it first. This has to deal with like making the posters, doing the marketing and the media, figuring out which pieces will go where, and it's always a negotiation with who you're working with. We've done 7 or 8 at this point throughout Chengdu. I've always been involved in painting and hanging and printing and arranging. There's no distance between me and the wall. To be honest, it's a lot of work to put on the wall, but there's definitely a sense of achievement. Art for me has been a part of my life from a very young age. I love the aspect of critical thinking that goes involved. I like the idea behind works more sometimes than the work itself. I really like concepts, and I think art is a visible display of a concept. Each frame is like an insight into someone's life, but when taken as a whole, you can really see the global perspective of everything. I was trying to do art events there, to try to bring a community together of people and to expose not only foreigners to art in Chengdu, but to Chinese people, to foreigners, and to build this cultural bridge, exposing the local audience to a more international perspective and international artists, doing something totally different for people here.